don't understand how this happened. I swear I didn't see him.
He's gone because of you.
The CEO slammed her palm against the conference table, her voice slicing through the morning silence like a blade as she barked out, "Please, just make it fast. I do not have time to babysit another janitor with a complaint." The words hit the air so violently that even the walls of the polished executive conference room felt colder. Assistants passing outside the glass walls paused mid-step, sensing tension radiating outward like heat from a fire. Inside, Daniel Morris stood quietly, breathing with the calmness of a man who had learned long ago that reacting too quickly only invited more trouble. He didn't flinch, didn't shift, didn't defend himself. He simply stood in his worn uniform. A black single father who carried more weight in his eyes than most executives carried in their briefcases, Rebecca Holley, the CEO, pushed her designer glasses higher on her nose and glared at him with the impatience of someone who felt her time was too valuable to waste. Stress had strangled her week board meetings, volatile market shifts, lawsuits, staff demanding promotions, and she didn't think she had room for another discussion she assumed would mean nothing. She saw only the surface, a janitor who, in her mind, surely came to complain about equipment or scheduling or something she believed beneath her. What she didn't see was the truth standing silently in front of her. Daniel placed a stack of thick folders on her desk, but Rebecca barely spared them a glance. She repeated her command fast sharper this time. Something shifted in Daniel's posture then. Not anger, not defiance. Something quieter and stronger. The kind of shift that changed the air in the room. Slowly, he stepped back and began removing his jacket. Rebecca's eyebrows lifted in startled annoyance, already forming another harsh comment, until the next moment forced all her words to die in her throat. Daniel folded the jacket neatly on the chair, revealing his forearms strong, deeply scarred, marked by burns and healed wounds that told violent stories without a single word spoken. He reached inside the jacket and placed something on her table. Rebecca leaned closer, confusion tightening her expression, until she recognized the laminated ID, Federal Rescue Operations Unit, Award for Valor. Special Field Commendation. Her breath caught. Everything she assumed about him shattered instantly. Daniel kept his eyes low, offering no explanation, no speech, no prideful posture. He simply let the silence speak. Rebecca stared at the ID, mind reeling. The scars on his arms suddenly held new meaning. The exhaustion in his eyes carried different weight. His steady presence, calm, grounded, unwavering, felt like a man who had seen fire. Ruined, collapsing buildings, twisted metal, and still walked forward because lives depended on him. She finally managed to ask why someone with this background would be a janitor here. Daniel stepped forward, his voice deep and steady, explaining that he had spent years rescuing strangers from danger-saving trapped families, lifting victims from debris, pulling people from car wrecks, fighting through smoke-filled homes. He loved the work. He loved serving. But everything changed when his wife passed unexpectedly. His world snapped in half. His son needed him home, needed him alive, needed someone who wouldn't disappear for days on emergency deployments. So Daniel made the hardest choice he had ever made. He left the rescue unit. Rebecca felt a sting in her chest. She thought of her own childhood, losing her mother young and growing up with the ache of absence. Suddenly, Daniel's tired eyes made heartbreaking sense. He explained that the folders on her table weren't complaints but detailed emergency safety improvements he had created after studying the building's flawed evacuation layouts. He worked on them after midnight shifts, sacrificing sleep to ensure the people in this building, including his son, who sometimes waited for him in the lobby, would be safe. Rebecca opened the folders, stunned by the detail. Evacuation routes, fire safety redesigns, emergency protocols, everything expertly built. This wasn't amateur work. This was the work of someone who had spent years in chaos, saving lives with nothing but instinct and training. Shame crawled up her spine. She saw how cruel her impatience had been. How blind. "How cold, Dot?" she asked quietly while he brought it to her. Daniel looked up, eyes full of a father's love, and said that his son visited him here. He wanted to know every person in this building, including his boy, would be safe if disaster ever struck. The sincerity in his voice cracked something open inside her. She saw him clearly not a janitor, not a problem, but a hero carrying his burdens quietly while giving his heart freely to protect others. Rebecca walked around the table and stood directly before him. Her voice softened, stripped of the sharpness she used as armor. She admitted she thought he was wasting her time, but now she saw he was the only one trying to protect the building. Daniel bowed his head slightly, not in submission but in humility. Rebecca picked up his jacket, handing it back to him gently. Then she made a decision that surprised even her. She told him she wanted him to lead emergency preparedness for the entire corporation. Not someday. Not with a long approval process. Immediately. Right now. Daniel's breath trembled. His eyes shone with emotions he tried to hold back. The possibility of giving his son a better life washed over him like warmth after years of cold. He nodded once, overwhelmed. Rebecca stepped back, looking at him with genuine respect. She thanked him for changing the building and thanked him for reminding her who true heroes were. Downstairs in the lobby, Daniel's son waited on a bench, swinging his legs happily, unaware that his entire life had changed during a meeting no one expected. When Daniel emerged from the elevator, the boy ran to him joyfully. Daniel lifted him high, holding him with a strength made of love, sacrifice, and newly rediscovered pride. That day, Daniel walked out of the building not as a janitor, but as a leader. A father rising, a man finally seen for who he truly was. Everything changed because one CEO spoke harshly, and one father answered with truth instead of anger. Sometimes a destiny shifts from just a single moment, a jacket removed, a badge revealed, a story finally heard, and a father's quiet strength rewriting his future.